sister, so hopefully the truth will come out. And the only thing is, I'm going to feel sorry for Jack instead of Nick then.
I know, but I feel like Jack never really wins anyway, you know?
He doesn't, the poor guy.
He doesn't.
Mm-mm.
He always gets his butt kicked. It's always,
right?
You know, it's not fair. It's not fair. I'm not saying that just because he's my on-screen dad. I mean, I want to see the guy win one.
Well, you know what they say, nice guys finish last. So, you know, let's hope that eventually he comes out ahead somewhere. You know, things being torn down now with him owning Newman and Eric is, you know, breaking that down and it's useless and oh my gosh, just so many things are going on with him and I just feel for him. So maybe Kyle can come in and save the day somehow.
That would be nice. I would love to do that, and I would love to do that. And I really would love for Kyle to be able to date Summer because that would be fun. But oh well, you know, he has no idea.
Right. Well, I'm sure the truth will come out sooner or later. I think it's going towards that way. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about a cause that you're so passionate about, and that's saving the pit bulls and adopting Holden. Tell us more about that, because David and I both feel very strongly about saving dogs and cats and giving them homes instead of having them being put down.
Well, it's something that, and Holden, I was actually just handling that day at Strut Your Mutt. He actually I didn't adopt him. I have two myself already. I have Maggie and BG, two girls, two pit bulls.
Oh.
And the good news about Holden is he was adopted. He's been adopted.
That's nice. Cool.
Yeah, because he really is just like the perfect dog, and his foster mom decided to keep him. Which I suspected would happen because he's just such a sweet boy. But that's what we call a foster failure, which is really a success.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up keeping both of mine, because I got involved in Angel City Pit Bulls, which is the rescue group that I volunteer with, because a friend of mine, Stephanie Lemelin, who's an actress, we met in an acting class, and she kind of started the organization with some friends. And, you know, I had just done Glory Days and was feeling good about stuff professionally, and I wanted to volunteer, but I didn't know what I was really passionate about. But I grew up with Mastiffs and Pit Bulls back in New York. And this came along, and I knew the bad rap that Pit Bulls had, and I wanted to get in and do something about it. And ended up volunteering, ended up fostering Maggie, who's a red-nosed Pit Bull, and had her for a couple of months. I got a call one day that said, my doctor really, really wants Maggie. We think he wants her. And I couldn't let her go. I couldn't give it up. So I just said, no, I was like, she's mine now. She's not going anywhere. You'll have to pry her from my cold, dead hands.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then BG, the other one, that was in 2011. That was about 2 years. I've had Maggie 2 years now. And BG, I met at the Baldwin. It's Baldwin Hills, not Baldwin Hills, I think. Animal. I always get Baldwin Hills and Baldwin Park messed up. But it was a Baldwin Hills Animal Shelter, and it was Baldwin Park. Anyways, I met her on Christmas Eve. I was stopping by to help out a little bit with some people that were over there, and I saw her in her little cage, and signed myself up as an interested party, and kept going back to make sure that she was not, euthanized and all of that, and then finally pulled her myself and brought her home, and she just fit in perfectly. She's a blue-nosed pit bull, and she fit in perfectly with Maggie and with, my lifestyle and everything. So she's here. She's here now for good.
Wow.
Oh, that's
so
great.
Sweet. David,
that's
I think you had a question.
Yes, I did. In your opinion, what makes a dog or a cat evil?
It is. It has to do. I really feel like it's the same thing that can potentially make a human being quote unquote evil, or make a human being a real jerk, and that just has to do with how they're raised and the environment that they're raised in and the nurturing that they go through. If you raise a person in an aggressive environment and their parents are aggressive and violent and maybe, physically violent or even verbally abusive when there are conflicts, then as a human, that child will probably carry that over into their adult life.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a simple fact that how many criminals, serious criminals are out there that had really happy home lives? Probably not a lot.
No.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with an animal because they're just not. I don't know of any animal that I've ever met that is born evil.
No. Mm-mm.
I just don't think it happens. It's a matter of nurturing. It's a matter of the environment. And the domesticated dogs aim to please. That's what they want to do. They will do whatever their master wants them to do to please them.
That's very true. I mean, all they want is love and food. That's it. They don't ask for anything else.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's all I
and
want.
If you can't give that to them, then you don't belong having an animal.
I completely agree. And that's the same thing for a child. It's the same thing for a dog. It's just they depend on us to take care for them, and they will do whatever they need, whatever we teach them to do to get that affection, to get that approval. And that's the unfortunate thing with things like dogfighting is it's just the way that they're raised. And a lot of people don't realize that, but the big story with Michael Vick a couple of years ago when they busted him on the dogfighting ring, I think there was something like 43 dogs that they recovered from the fighting ring, and all but I think 3 of them were successfully rehabbed and placed in homes and became family dogs.
Thank God. So they can be trained to not be aggressive once they have been trained to be aggressive?
That's a case-by-case basis. I mean, in an ideal scenario, from puppyhood, they're never really exposed to it, And there are cases where a dog has been taught to be a certain way, behave a certain way, and that dog may not be fit, to be in a home, which is really unfortunate, but can be the case. But by and large, there is just such a misrepresentation of the pit bull breed, and the misrepresentation, I think, just kind of fuels everything, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. That's very true because, anytime I watch the news or I watch Judge Judy or something, and somebody's been attacked by a dog or a dog has attacked somebody else's pet, it usually turns out to be a pit bull or what's that other one that's like that?
Rottweiler?
The Rottweiler, yes. And so when you start hearing the story, that's the first thing that pops into your head. Oh, I bet it was a pit bull or a Rottweiler, And that's very unfortunate because I know a friend of mine, her son, he loves pit bulls, and his dog was one of the sweetest dogs I ever met. But then again, he treated him kindly and never wanted him to be aggressive.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it goes. I mean, but really, I always encourage people not to have any illusions about it either, though, because somebody was talking to me saying that he maybe wanted a pit bull. And we had a talk, and it sounded he wanted something more like a golden retriever or a Labrador. I love Labrador retrievers. I grew up with them as well. And to me, it's kind of like with any power breed, whether it's a Shepherd, whether it's a Rottweiler, whether it's pit bull. There is more responsibility that comes with an animal that's that powerful and needs that kind of attention, and you really need to be a strong alpha, for lack of a better word, whether you're a man or a woman. You need to be the leader of the pack because the power breeds really respond really well to that. So they're not the dog necessarily for everybody, but I feel like the image of the breed is just it's really, really dark, and it doesn't need to be.
Exactly. Now, how can people help if they can't adopt?
They can. I think the biggest thing for changing anything in this world is information and is awareness. And I have neighbors who have met Maggie, who is very, very sweet with people. She loves people. She's just such a she kind of melts that's how she is. She's so cute. And I had neighbors who met her and were like, "Is she a pit bull?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And they said, "I had no idea pit bulls could be like this."
Right.
And that to me was like, that's what it's all about: is people not realizing. People it's no discredit to them. People just not realizing they aren't all great dogs, depending on how they're raised, but they really can just be the sweetest things. Many years ago, 100 years ago or so, the pit bull was referred to as the nanny dog because they were used kind of as canine nannies for very young children because they're excellent with young children.
I never heard of that. That is unbelievable. A nanny dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
You would never hear
I think
that
that's pretty cool. I mean, my Yorkies are known as rat dogs because they were bred to chase the mice in England.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think your pit bulls have a better background.
Yeah.
Well, they were. I mean, my other one is a smaller pit. She's like an American Staffordshire Bull Terrier. She's a little smaller and stouter, and she was also used for ratting too. So back in the day.
Oh, really?
I certainly. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah. I never realized it until I started looking into it, about getting another dog and what types of dogs I could have, and I read that and I was like, what?
Hey, you don't need cats anymore, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Except, you know what, in the winter time, because I'm in Chicago, we do have, a mouse here or there that tries to get in, and I've never seen my dogs try to figure out where it is or where it went. We have to do that ourselves to get them out. So
they're lazy. They're lazy now. They're living a good life.
I think they've been Americanized, because they're not in England anymore. They don't make them do it.
Yeah, no, they don't care anymore.
Right.
Excellent.
Well, I want to thank you because I know you only had 30 minutes. I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving us such interesting stories and more knowledge about pit bulls and that, and of course about your background. And we really, really look forward to seeing you more on Young and the Restless.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me, and I would love to do it again at any point. Just give me a call, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the job a lot, and I mean what I say about the dogs and everything, but not just pit bulls, any dog.
Oh,
I happen to focus on pit bulls and the fact that just thousands of animals get put to sleep daily. It's just, I don't care what animal it is, what dog or whatever, but I think as a people we could do better with that kind of stuff. And I think we are doing better, but we should continue to be aware of that.
I completely agree with you, and I know David does too, because it's heartbreaking to know. When I was looking for a home for my German Shepherd, and I couldn't find one right away, I was looking at different places to put him that would not put him down, and my gosh, it's almost impossible to find. But I did find one.
The volume is just too great. The volume is just too great. Oh, you did find one. Excellent.
Yeah, I did. And actually what I had done before that was called the police department because I thought maybe, he would make a good drug-sniffing dog or whatever they wanted to do with him. At least they knew he would be taken care of. But he didn't pass all the criteria. The one thing that he did that shocked the heck out of me is the cop went outside my backyard gate, and he told me to stay in the yard with my dog. And then he came after me, like, with the fence in between us, like, rawr, that kind of thing. My dog, for the first time in 3 years since I had him, showed aggression and went after the cop. And he was trying to jump over the fence. So, but other than that, he's a loving dog.
Yeah, well, he has every right to protect you if that's the case. I mean, if you were my mother and somebody did that, I'd protect you the same way.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to know that.
I've got your back. I've always got your back. But yeah, it's not easy for those police dogs. They're super, super highly trained. They're really cool.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But like I said, at least I know he was taken care of, and that's a good thing. I know he's in a good home and people that love him and take care of him. So I'm happy about that. So
you did a good thing.
Thank you. David, you want to say anything?
No, I just wanted to add on a little short story before I let you go. It was a couple weeks ago, and I heard right across from our library, someone was attacked by a pit bull.
Right.
And